My name is Lillian and I am 99 years old and I want to tell you something that might shock you. You see, everyone has been lying to you about what happens after 60. Your doctor, your friends, even your own family. They whisper about loneliness, like it is some terrible disease that comes with age. Well, I am here to tell you the truth. The real truth about what they do not tell you about loneliness and what comes after. I mean, look at me. I am almost 100 years old. I have buried 3 husbands, watched most of my friends pass on, and yet I wake up every morning with more joy than I had at 30. How is that possible? How does a woman my age find herself more alive than ever when everyone expects her to be waiting for the end? Well, stay with me because what I am about to share will change how you think about aging forever. You see, the biggest lie they tell you is that loneliness means you are broken, that being alone means you are forgotten, that your best years are behind you. But what if I told you that some of the most beautiful discoveries of my life happened when I was completely alone? Actually, let me ask you something. When you picture yourself at 70 or 80, what do you see? I bet you see someone sitting in a chair, watching television, waiting for phone calls that never come. You see someone who has given up, someone who is just existing. Am I right? That used to terrify me too. I mean, when I was 60 and my second husband passed, I thought my life was essentially over. The loneliness felt like it would swallow me whole. But here is what nobody tells you. That feeling, that crushing loneliness, it is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of the most honest chapter you will ever write. Let me share 3 things with you that nobody talks about. 3 truths that will probably make you uncomfortable, but they might just save your life. First truth. The cost of being right all the time is your capacity to grow. You see, when I was younger, I spent so much energy proving I knew better than everyone else. I had to be the smartest person in the room, the one with all the answers. But loneliness taught me something powerful. When you are truly alone, there is nobody left to impress, nobody to prove anything to except yourself. I remember when I was 73, sitting in my kitchen after my 3rd husband died, and my neighbor brought me casserole after casserole. She kept telling me how to grieve properly, when to start dating again, how to organize my finances, and for the first time in my life, I just looked at her and said, I do not know. 3 simple words. I do not know. And you know what happened? The world did not end. Actually, something beautiful happened. She sat down and we had the most honest conversation we had ever had. She told me about her own fears of losing her husband. I told her about the relief I felt mixed with the grief. When you stop needing to be right about everything, you finally have space to be real about anything. So here is my challenge for you. This week, find one situation where, instead of having the answer, you can simply say, I do not know, but I am willing to learn. Watch what happens. Second truth. The danger of waiting for permission to live your life fully. You see, most people my age are still waiting for their children to approve of their choices, waiting for their doctor to give them clearance for adventure, waiting for some external voice to tell them it is okay to want things. I wasted 15 years waiting for permission to travel alone, permission to take art classes at 78, permission to admit I was ready to fall in love again at 82. Can you imagine? An 82-year-old woman asking others if it was appropriate for her to have feelings. But here is what loneliness teaches you that nothing else can. When you are truly alone, you realize that the only permission you need is your own. The only approval that matters comes from looking in the mirror and saying, yes, I deserve this joy. Actually, Let me tell you about Harold. I met him when I was 84 at a watercolor class. He was 89, recently widowed, and we both felt foolish being there among all these younger people learning to paint. But we were the only ones brave enough to paint exactly what we saw instead of what we thought we should see. My children were mortified when I started spending time with him. "Mom, what will people think?" But you know what? At 84, I finally understood that other people's opinions about my happiness were not my responsibility to manage. Harold and I had 3 beautiful years together before he passed. 3 years of laughter, gentle romance, shared sunsets, and yes, intimacy that looked nothing like what movies show you but felt more real than anything I experienced in my younger years. Stop waiting for permission. If you want to take that dance class, take it. If you want to travel somewhere alone, book the ticket. If you want to pursue a friendship or romance, pursue it. The only person whose approval you need for your happiness is looking back at you in the mirror. Third truth, and this is the hardest one. The danger of confusing being needed with being loved. You see, for most of my life, I measured my worth by how much other people depended on me. I was the caretaker, the problem solver, the one everyone called when things went wrong. When my children grew up and stopped needing me to fix their problems, when my husbands passed and I was no longer caring for anyone, I felt worthless. I thought love meant being indispensable, but loneliness taught me the difference between being needed and being treasured. When you are needed, people come to you because they want something from you. When you are loved, people come to you because of who you are. The difference is everything. I spent years trying to make myself necessary again, volunteering for everything, offering to babysit constantly, inserting myself into situations where I could feel useful. But I was exhausted and still lonely because none of that was about me as a person. Then one day, my granddaughter called me. Not because she needed money or babysitting or advice. She called because she had been thinking about a story I once told her about my childhood, and it made her laugh, and she wanted to hear my voice. That phone call changed everything for me. She did not need me. She wanted me. There is a universe of difference between those two things. So here is what I want you to understand. Your value is not in what you can do for others. Your value is in who you are. The stories you carry, the wisdom you have gathered, the unique way you see the world, that cannot be taken away by age or circumstance or loss. Now, you might be wondering why I am telling you all this. Why does a 99-year-old woman care so much about sharing these uncomfortable truths? Well, I am telling you this because right now, somewhere, there is a 5-year-old woman who just lost her husband and thinks her life is over. There is a 72-year-old man who feels invisible because retirement has stripped away his identity. There is an 80-year-old person who believes they are too old to want companionship or adventure or joy. And every single one of them is wrong. You see, the most alive I have ever felt was after I lost everything I thought defined me. After the marriages ended, after the career was over, after the house felt too big and too quiet. That is when I finally met myself. Really met myself. Not the version of me that other people needed, but the person I actually was underneath all those roles. At 87, I learned I love thunderstorms. At 90, I discovered I have a gift for making people laugh. At 94, I finally understood what it means to be content with my own company. At 99, I wake up curious about what I might learn today. Loneliness is not a punishment for aging. It is an invitation to discover who you are when all the noise falls away. It is a chance to build a relationship with the most important person you will ever know, yourself. So I want you to do something for me. In the comments below, I want you to share your age and one thing you have learned about yourself that surprised you. Maybe you are 45 and just discovering you love solitude. Maybe you are 73 and realizing you still have dreams. Maybe you are 80 and finding out you are braver than you ever imagined. Share it, because when we share these truths, we remind each other that aging is not about decline. It is about becoming. It is about shedding the layers of who others needed us to be so we can finally discover who we actually are. And if you are someone who thinks your best years are behind you, I want you to know something. I am 99 years old, and yesterday I laughed harder than I have in months. Today I am planning a small adventure for next week. Tomorrow I will wake up excited to see what unfolds. Your story is not over. It is just getting interesting.